Look closely. You've held one of these 1,000 times, maybe 10,000. A zipper. Ordinary, reliable, completely understood. You could explain it in your sleep. Or at least, that's the feeling. And the feeling is the whole problem. So a child looks up and asks the simplest question. How does it actually work? Easy, you think. The two rows of teeth come together, and then and there it is. A flat little silence where the answer was supposed to be. A second ago, you'd have bet money you understood this. Now, you're not so sure. Hold on to that small, specific embarrassment. We're going to find out where it comes from. 20 years ago, two cognitive scientists set out to measure that exact silence. Rosenblit and Kyle handed people the most ordinary objects imaginable. Step 1. Rate how well you understand how this works on a scale to 7. People rated themselves high and confidently. Why wouldn't they? They use these things daily. Step 2. Now give a full step-by-step explanation. Every stage, leave nothing out. And somewhere in the middle of that sentence, the floor quietly gave way. Step 3. Rate yourself again. The second number sat far below the first. They hadn't forgotten anything. The explaining simply exposed what was never really there. Rosenblit and Kyle gave it a name, the illusion of explanatory depth. You feel like your knowledge has depth. Reach into it, and it's a single thin layer. Strangely, it barely touches simple facts, capitals, dates, names you've memorized. It comes for explanations, for how things work, the hidden machinery we assume we hold. And it isn't a flaw in some people. Children fall in, experts fall in, you fall in, because most of what you know is actually stored in other people's heads. So why does the mind run this bluff on its own owner? Because seeing something every single day feels exactly like understanding it. You store a quiet promise, I could explain this, and you never once cash it. And modern life makes the bluff easier. Every answer now sits one tap away. But a search bar in your pocket is not the same thing as a model in your head. Fine. Let's stop bluffing and actually open one up. Back to the zipper. 2 rows of little interlocking teeth. Pull them together, they hold. Obvious, right? But the slider that joins them is not a clamp. That's the part you skipped. Hidden inside it is a Y-shaped channel, a wedge with 1 road in and 2 roads out. Push it up, and the wedge forces each pair of teeth to lock in strict sequence. Pull it down, and the very same wedge pries that locked seam cleanly back into 2. That's the mechanism, a wedge. You've worked it 10,000 times and never once saw it. Your model wasn't fuzzy, it was wrong. And nothing in normal life ever corrected it. A combination lock is the same trick. You know the dial, you don't know why it opens. The illusion survives precisely because daily life never once asks you to prove it. Now the part that should genuinely unsettle you. This was never really about gadgets. The same gap sits underneath the convictions we'll argue about until midnight. In 2013, a second team, Fernbach and colleagues, ran the zipper trick on politics. They took genuinely hard policies, carbon trading, sanctions, a single-payer health system. Step 2. Rate how well you understand how the policy would actually function. Step 3. The trap. Now explain the mechanism. Walk me through how it works. And the same floor gave way. They could not explain the thing they were certain about. Then something remarkable happened. Their certainty cooled. The fierce positions quietly softened. The further someone's false understanding fell, the further toward the middle they moved. There's a crucial detail. It only worked when they explained the mechanism. Asked instead to just list their reasons, people didn't budge. Reasons need no real knowledge. They even gave less money afterward to the very causes they'd just been so sure about. It looked, for a moment, like a genuine cure for a divided world. Want less extremism? Don't outshout people. Just, gently, ask them to explain. It was clean and hopeful, so it spread into talks, into books, into the line everyone quotes. Which is the exact moment a careful scientist starts to worry. Because a beautiful, hopeful result is precisely the kind that most needs repeating. So other teams repeated it. Bigger samples, stricter rules, the plan locked before any data. One replication ran the test across more than 5,000 people, far more than the original. And once again, explaining made people admit they understood less. That part held firm. But this time, the positions didn't move. The heat stayed stubbornly where it began. Read that again. They confessed the gap and gripped the opinion every bit as hard. They could stare straight into the hole in their own knowledge, feet planted, unmoved. And that is darker than the story we'd all fallen in love with. The hopeful version said ignorance was the lock and explanation was the key. But the key turned and the lock stayed shut. The grip was never made of knowledge. It was made of identity. Which side you're on. Who you'd be if you let go. And identity does not loosen just because you admitted out loud that you weren't sure. One small thing did survive every repeat. People will still grant you the humility. They'll concede they can't explain it. They simply won't hand you the position. So the illusion is rock solid. The easy cure for it, mostly, is not. Which carries us, quietly, right back to where we started. The zipper. Being wrong about a zipper costs you nothing. It's a safe, almost funny place to be humbled. But almost nothing you're truly certain about is a zipper. It's policy. It's history. It's the people sitting across the table from you. And the rescue we reached for, just explain it, turns out to be a quiet illusion too. So what actually survives all of this? Not the cure, the diagnosis. Start noticing the quiet, obviously, the certainty so smooth you never stop to inspect it. That's where the illusion lives, not in what you doubt, in what you never thought to check. So here's your opening question, finally made honest. Can you explain a zipper? And if not, what else have you been so sure about? Sit in that gap a second. Don't rush to fill it. That discomfort is the entire skill. If you'd rather think than scroll, you already know where to find me.